Hello Admirals and welcome back to my channel where I talk to you about Battlefleet Gothic, the space fleet game based in the Warhammer 40,000 universe. I've been recently talking with my mate BFG Noob about the Badab War and the various different Space Marine factions that were included in that. That Badab War was kind of a blueprint for then later heresy information that we got, so it showed that people were genuinely interested in that sort of heresy Space Marine combat. And then the heresy kind of kicked off after that with all in the lore, and it's progressed from there. So it's a bit of a template, and there were a number of Space Marine chapters involved with that had unique ships. So we were talking about that, and then just so happens that later this year there's going to be a Badab War event down in New South Wales, close to me. So it was like, oh, this is a great opportunity to look at more fleets and things like that. And I posted up in the posts. But I already have a Badab Wharf's chapter fleet, and that's the Howling Griffons that I painted last year. So I thought, let's, part of the showcase, let's show off that first fleet that I did for one of the chapters, and there probably will be more at some point. But I thought you'd like to see the Howling Griffons, a classic Space Marine chapter that I think many people around the same age as me may remember from the White Dwarf article with an army and the Howling Griffons army in that classic second and third ed schemes and things like that. So, but without further ado, let's check out my Howling Griffons Space Marine fleet. So here you go, Admirals. This is my Howling Griffons fleet. I've always really loved the quarter scheme. This is probably my newest fleet. I am painting a Space Wolf fleet at the moment, but that's nowhere near done. But this is probably my newest fleet. This is about 1,500 points. I really wanted to paint 1,500 points, very generic kind of Space Marine list. But I really wanted to paint Howling Griffons. They're very, this sort of generic Space Marine fleet list actually works very well for them. They're very much Codex Astartes compliant. They are rigid in their adherence to the Codex, apparently. So having a very stock standard Imperial Space Marine fleet kind of works for them quite well, I found. I actually only found that out after the fact, so it worked out for me in the end. But I fell in love with this scheme all the way back in something like 1994, when in White Dwarf, I think something like 175, 76, something like 77, something like that, there was an amazing Howling Griffons Space Marine army from 40k, and it was done by a hobbyist named Fred Reed, and I just felt like it was on the back page of the White Dwarf or the inset cover, something like that, and I just fell in love with the quarter scheme. I thought it was absolutely amazing. It was bold, big, bright primary colours. And then when I saw the Brazen Claws as well, and they have a similar sort of quarter scheme with blue and red, and they're an Iron Hands successor chapter. And I probably will do them at some point as well, because I just really like the quarter scheme that they've got. I think it's quite bold. Like I say, I think it's quite distinct on the tabletop. So yeah, I really enjoyed painting this one. And I felt, and so 30 odd years ago, I fell in love with that scheme because someone painted it. It was in White Dwarf, and it's stayed with me this entire time. And so when the opportunity kind of arose to give it a go, I thought, why not? I really quite enjoyed it. It wasn't as it was pretty tricky, but it wasn't as hard as I thought it was going to be. I followed quite a few good recipes and YouTube channels to show how you could do the quarter, a few transfers here and there that I really think adds to the fleet. Really kind of brings it out a little bit on both the battle barge and the strike cruisers. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. I probably will add to the fleet, probably another strike cruiser to give me some options, probably another escort squadron, and keep to that sort of codex compliant approach that they have. And what else it also gives me is a Badab war fleet. Now the Howling Griffons weren't in that war for very long, but it counts. They were one of the chapters there. So it does give me an opportunity to play games in that sort of era of 40k, I suppose. And while there isn't a specific rule set or anything like that for the Badab War, it's kind of cool that I actually have a fleet. And I will probably paint more fleets. There is an event, like I said, later in the year here in Australia that I'll probably take this fleet to, which will be fun. But I digress. I think it's a really fun fleet, and yeah, I hope you really like it. I think it's come out quite well. I think the quartered scheme works quite well on spaceships, quite frankly. And like I said, I really want to give maybe a few other quarter schemes a go, like the Brazen Claws, maybe Nova Marines or something like that. Maybe. But I hope you enjoy the Howling Griffons, Admirals. There you have it, Admirals. My Howling Griffons fleet for the Badab War. I aimed for like a 1500 point fleet list there. That kind of gives us a bit of everything in that fleet. What Space Marine chapter would you like to see? Would you like me to paint up? What fleet would you be from the Badab War specifically? Loads of people love Lamenters. Red Scorpions could be pretty cool. I have a bit of a fondness for the Star Phantoms. I think they're pretty cool. But there are a number of fleet chapters that have unique ships in there. Things like the Executioners have a particular special, unique named character ship. So that'd be pretty cool too. So let me know in the comments what you think of the Howling Griffons fleet, and what other Badab War fleets you'd like to see in the future. And maybe they'll get into that event towards the end of the year. Thank you very much for watching, Admirals, and until next time, I hope you enjoyed the video.